Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Yo, what's up? Oh, Jesus God, that sounds crazy.
That's a great intro.
It's like,
Yeah.
yo, what's up, fam?
Yo, what's up, my homies? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Not Too Crazy Podcast and not What Topic Podcast, but welcome to Too Crazy for What Topic special episode, baby! And this can only be possible by bringing together two amazing people that I both do a podcast with. Too Crazy with Julieta here and Owen with What Topic Podcast. And it had to come together at some point for a spooky occurrence, but we're a bit late for that.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a little ghost waiting for that time. Like, oh, when are they gonna come? Like, I would have scared them.
We're 5 days late. What the fuck?
Well, better late than never. Better late than never.
I mean, it's kind of like a serial killer just hiding behind the curtains. Like, come on, like I'm on a time here. Like,
yeah, it's just like look at Scream's face, like, oh, what the fuck are they taking so long for?
Or they go like, come on, I need to pee. Like, come on.
It's like I want to do this.
5 days later.
That's it. Come on, I want to do stabby. But yeah, we're making a podcast and we're kind of cheating a little bit with this, as you can imagine, because this is re-released on both podcast streams. But you know what? We thought, it's the best of both worlds. We want to talk about horror stuff. We want to talk about mythical legends and whatever we can muster in this episode. But this isn't going to be the last. We're going to definitely do the fusion of the two episodes in the future. If you can do it with food, you can do it with podcasts, because those are my two favourite things. What can I say? Bada bam, bada bam.
Yeah, or just do what you two guys did in the last episode of your show, is just bring booze into the equation. So
That's what I like the most.
Oh my god, the fact that we got down that whole Sambuca bottle, and we can actually soberly talk about how we're not surprisingly cringed by it.
Well, I was definitely cringed when I was watching it back.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong, I was cringe watching it back, but I can't erase it from my memory for good reason, because it was just too good.
Well, you can't, because it's been recorded, so
it's too crazy to be deleted.
Oh, it is, definitely.
We're just coming up with those names constantly. Just go, too crazy for this, too crazy for that. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I was just watching it, like, wow, damn, you're clearly like the past from keeping information in the box like that just exploded. That's everyone's gonna know everything. It's like
So I'm gonna throw in some interesting context. Today we are actually recording this on effectively Guy Fawkes Day, bonfire night. Most people have done their fireworks and had their bonfire night last night, because obviously Saturday, kids go back to school on Monday after half term. It's it is the way it is, but it doesn't change the fact it is the 5th of November today, 5 days after Halloween, and we have a legend that died on this day because of something he did in the Parliament in the UK. He was trying to light some gunpowder and he got fired.
Yeah.
So it's still, it's not Halloween, but it's still at least on some sort of day of celebration.
Well, let me put it this way: if Christmas can start whatever the fuck it wants, we're gonna keep Halloween going on.
Yeah, that's it. That is so true.
We're all in agreement here. I went food shopping earlier and I literally saw Christmas stuff. Asda, they had the absolute damn right rudeness to start playing Buble Christmas. No, thank you.
Have you seen the meme that he gets really frustrated about? There's a meme where it looks like he's coming out of a cave, and it's like at the time that Michael Bublé is finally summoned to come out of his cave.
It's like, yeah, come on, Michael, come on, Christmas time.
But
shaking bubbles.
But apparently it's been his Christmas album has been #1 in Australia for so many consecutive years. So it's kind of like, what did he do with the albums?
I mean, I guess Michael Bublé is Australia, Mariah Carey is the UK, or Shaking Stevens or whatever,
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I hear Mariah Carey, you're just like, oh, Jesus, God knows.
I know it. I think I know it's Christmas when I hear what's it called? something aid. What's it called? The song. The charity song. What's it called? Do They Know It's Christmas? Is that the charity song?
Oh, I know the only one I know is BAM,
Band-Aid.
Christmas. Yeah, that's it. And
oh my god, I've got my own twist. To
Oh no!
Song. Don't worry. I'm not even trying to,
Try to nobody wants to hear my version of Baladon.
No one does. Maybe
no. You brought it up, so you need to say it. So.
Oh no.
No, you really don't want to.
All I can say, this episode has been rated for explicit language, so go for it. You've got the floor.
Well, this is related to loads of people, in fact, because I feel like everyone buys useless shit during Christmas. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah.
Everyone. So I come up with my own twist of the song. I don't know if I can remember it, exactly how it went, but pretty much. Are you ready for this? You're just gonna be like, fucking hell, not again. Okay, so it goes. Last Christmas, I went to B&M.
Oh my god.
I bought a lot of shit I'll never use again. I'll just stop here.
Do you know what? I would rather listen to that than just listening to all the other Christmas songs any day. So.
Do you know? I'm not gonna lie. I think I completely had erased that from my memory, and I've forgotten that was what you was about to sing.
Oh, did you actually? Yeah. Oh,
I think I forgot about it because I think that was quite quickly forgotten about, wasn't it?
Well, I did not forget about it.
I mean, I'm not saying you didn't. In your consciousness, you never forget what you created.
True. But yeah,
Anyways,
it,
enough about Christmas. We're talking about fuck Christmas, and then we're talking about Christmas. Like, hang on, what the fuck are you doing?
Hey, we can use it in the context that we say what's spooky is that people start Christmas too early. Ooh.
That is really spooky. I know some people.
The Christmas trees.
I know people that have Christmas trees now. They've put their Christmas trees up now.
The only thing that I think is acceptable, and this is very finely acceptable, I think is that Christmas trees, the big ones that they have to build and put in places, the big ones, but you could do that still at the last but 1 week in November. Not yet.
Yeah.
So, because I think those ones end up staying in places like train stations until at least January 5th or something like that, don't they? Because they can't really move them because they're so big. So it's one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, but anyways, let's get to.
Well, that's a lot of fireworks going off there.
Yeah, that. I was gonna close my window, but I was just like, ambience, I don't know.
Yeah, we can't pull this off, guys, and say this was on the October 31st because no one sets off fireworks on Halloween unless it's like a
spooky fireworks.
Spooky fireworks. It just goes off and goes. Boo. No drinking has happened during this episode.
You sure about that?
Oh yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's just water, okay? That's water.
I trust you. No one can drink water without wincing.
Yeah, sure, water.
No one should be drinking water when they wince straight after it. That's how you know that it's not water. Do you see people when they go to festivals and they manage to sneak in vodka and they're just there with their really crappy plastic bottle with just a water bottle and they're just there to go
I've seen very inventive ways how people can sneak in alcohol when they're not supposed to. So
I've done that once from Poland to UK on the airport. But it was a couple of years ago because now you can't actually take fluids with you. I think that was probably part of the reasons why.
Yeah.
But a couple of years back, we've done that. So
Right.
I was underage, by the way. So.
Hang on a second. 999. Hello. I need to report a crime. It's nothing more spooky than somebody being naughty.
It's in the past.
Excuse me. Sorry, officer. I've got a bad thing to tell you.
How long ago was it? Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Lock her up now. Over. It's a sting operation. I'm already on the phone.
Too late.
You fucking knock.
Oh man. So, speaking of spooky things,
Yeah.
Owen's been on his, of course, traditional Halloween run of all the movies going round, and you wanted to talk about The Exorcist, the new one, right?
Yeah, the new Exorcist film, The Exorcist Believer. So this is the fifth one out of the series. Obviously, it originated back in 1973, which obviously is the 50th anniversary of the film. Still one of the best for me, for one of the best horror films out there.
It is probably one of the more traditional movies for, like, you know, horror. Like, you've got nothing that really, like, kind of like cements it more than the fact that, like, it's like a very sort of like ritual, like folklore kind of like philosophy.
Well, it's not really a folklore. It's like it's probably the best in terms of demon possession movies that I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, the whole word itself tells you everything, doesn't it?
I mean, what I love about it, it's very grounded. Like, you don't really get to see anything the possession, like any past like the 30-45 minute mark. It's creating all these characters and everything around it, and it's just it's building up to it, like, you know, how, you know, maybe the demon got, you know, summoned, and it's just like, you know, little bits and pieces that you see there, and then obviously you know, see Reagan slowly being possessed and her moods changing over time, and then you see everyone surrounding her, like her mother, for example, just being deteriorated. Like, she's trying to find every reasonable thing that could be the reason that it's the way that she is, until she goes like, I can't believe I'm, you know, having to go to a priest for an exorcism. And it's that kind of horror that is kind of just, you know, it's quite frightening, because it's not only like seeing a demon possessing somebody's, like, an innocent child, but it's like, imagine like your younger sibling or even your own child just going like completely a personality flip. Like, going from like this really innocent child to like this using a crucifix to masturbate with. It's just like, it's beyond like horrific.
It's funny actually, because like when the more I've like consumed different types of like horror, like you know, like when you think about, like, you got like Bram Stoker's Dracula, you think about like when somebody becomes a vampire, they slowly deteriorate away from their own self. And same with, like, you know, in zombie films, like the more they get closer to turn into the zombie, the more they become less themselves. So like all those parallels are, right, like all kind of linked into stuff like this, like where they've gone from being this average normal person to basically literally crawling the walls and acting like the most craziest possessed thing.
Yeah, I mean, with the zombie thing, it's like the whole themes that has been very prevalent to like a lot of things, especially since you know, George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead back in 1967, I think. Yeah, it's the whole thing about, you know, what is worse, like the humans or the zombies. Like the humans, like, you know, get to prey, because when there's a whole zombie invasion, that people would do anything to survive, and
if that means killing somebody else to get some food to survive, then
that's it.
Basic instinct from like the Stone Age kind of kicks in,
and it's survival mode.
That's it. And so there's a lot. So obviously, then there was like the Exorcist 2, which was like made 4 years after, I think, and that was a big load of. It was so boring. It's just I haven't seen The Exorcist 3, which I have. I've been hearing that it's actually quite decent. It's not too bad. I did watch The Exorcist Beginning, which is like a prequel before The Exorcist, and that was a load of shit. And then obviously, you know, cut to now we've got the new one, which is it's a requel, because it's a reboot / sequel. It's a sequel to the first film. So basically 2, 3, and whatever, like, doesn't exist. Like, it's retconned those films. It's the same way that the director David Gordon Green did with the Halloween films, the last 3 Halloween films. Like, you know, Halloween 2 and so on doesn't exist. Like, it goes from Halloween 2018, and, you know, so on.
Yeah,
the amount of shame involved just couldn't keep it, like, to just completely go, sorry, those were not the movies, you know.
you know,
Do you guys think that the newer versions of like horror movies are just like they get less and less scary? Like the more modern they get, the less scary they get. Because I feel like most of older horror films, they are like genuinely horrific.
Yeah, like the original Texas
scary.
Chainsaw Massacre movie, you know. And like those films just inspire so much like scary moments. Like these days, I think most movie directors just go for the most easiest jump scares. You know, like hands going around the door or going up out of a grate or something.
Or just,
very basic horror.
Or just rely on like blood and gore just to kind of freak people out. And
I think it's part of the reason why a lot of people like going to scare mazes, because movies don't really like jump out of the screen as much as like a walking experience does, which we will be talking about shortly.
Yeah, I mean, so to go back to the Exorcist film, I walked away, you know, quite disappointed because I looked at the trailers and I thought, oh, okay, it looks actually pretty decent. And I like the director, what he did with the Halloween films minus Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends was okay at best. I appreciated what he was trying to do. But this one, I just walked away like because The Exorcist is like it's up there with like one of the greatest horror films like ever, and to make a sequel out of it, it just seems like it's very evident that they have seen the original, but they just don't understand what made the original film scary, because you got a whole template based on it. Like, you know, you can watch it, you can analyze it and everything, but they took it and you were just watching it. I was never once unsettled or scared or just anything about it. It's just, you know, when you did see like jump scares in the original Exorcist, like it was warranted, like because it didn't rely on noise. Like there was I might be spoiling for you two that haven't seen it, but there's a nightmare sequence that one of the priests is having, and then it would suddenly have flashes of the demon's face out of it, and it comes out of nowhere, and you're just like, whoa, shit, but there's no sound. It's not like a typical horror movie where it goes, bah! Like that. It just comes up, and you're like, whoa,
it creates suspense.
And they do that in this new one, but they add the sound like going like that, and it's just like, okay, all right, it's just I feel
like the biggest problem with horror movies is that they don't respect the source material as much as they used to.
Well, it's not just respect to the source material, they don't respect the audience. Like they think that, you know, they think like, I love atmospheric horror. Like there's scenes like, and like, you know, the film Alien where Ellen Ripley's got the motion tracker and the flamethrower, and she's, you know, making sure like she's going down corridors to make sure that there's no alien, and it's, you don't see the alien, but you hear the sound like, you know, going off, and you're just like, when is the alien gonna pop up? And then and that sort of thing, you know, really gets it to me. And when filmmakers do that, they do it so well.
It's a fine art to make people scared, and I feel like, as you say, like they just kind of like, it's almost like they just go one step further in the wrong direction and just think, okay, we need to make it enough that people who are dumb in horror film situation watching, that they need that kind of introduction to the scare that's about to happen, or to try and they think that the people are going to have their hairs on their neck stand on end like too quickly. They need to go, we need to step them up every level, like a few DEFCONs before we get to the point. And I was like, no, I think that jump scares, like if you can get them perfect, jump scares, just no suspense to come to it, just bang, the moment happens, that's what you get, the beating heart moment, the core scariness of a horror film. And I don't know, I'm in agreement that like films these days just do not understand how to create instant scare as opposed to build it. Because you think it might be a good idea, and I think it's probably just a trope of the industry now that they need to do this to kind of make people scared at the right moment. But like if you create the perfect
tension
steps, if you create the tension, you don't need the sound effects, you don't need the build up, you just have the tension that's literally like you can cut it with a knife. It's that like potent.
No, a lot of films are like quite predictable now, so it's hard to like genuinely get scared, because you're like, oh, okay, so this is now about to happen. Like, oh yeah, I was right. I was absolutely right.
I mean, like, The Invisible Man is one of those movies that it's not perfect. the original source material and the original movies and stuff were much better. I've been and watched them since. But the one thing that the Invisible Man really did for me is that it.
Are you
yes,
talking? Hang on,
the new one.
I was the one from 2020.
Yeah, the one thing that movie did perfectly, I think, is not so much scare you, but leave you paranoid as fuck, which creates the scary factor. Because for me, you know, a genuine like jump scare, like it might make me go, oh, but that's about it. Like my heart rate ain't jumping more than 2 beats a minute extra. But when you create that scary feeling of just like a long paranoia. That's when you're not saying that a film is scary, it's paranoia. That's the movie that puts you in shit in your dreams. It turns your dreams to literal pure nightmare. And that's what a director needs to do and a writer needs to do with these films. And they're not doing it as much as these other films in the day.
No, I like what I liked about that new Invisible Man with Elizabeth Moss is that it's taken a simple concept from a woman leaving an abusive relationship and dealing with PTSD and just not knowing, you know, can she ever move forward, or having that sense, that feeling that he's still lingering. And in this instance, like, yeah, he's still, you know, harassing her and everything, and that's like a woman's worst fucking nightmare. It's just
the way that she escapes at the start of the film. Well, the way she makes her escape at the start of the film, like she's doing everything to be so quiet to leave the bedroom because like he's locked onto all these things, and like the way like I didn't really know what I was getting into yet in that film because like I'd only seen bits. I'd not watched the trailer. I just saw photos from the film, like in the production, etc. I wanted to go in as pure as possible. And I think that's one of the things that I like about movies nowadays. I enjoy a film more if I don't watch the trailer. And I think you're the same, Owen. You tend to not watch the film's trailer or any other things if you're sure about it.
I mean, I do still watch trailers, but then I'm glad now the past 5 years they've gone a little bit better. They still give you enough to bit of a taste and what the story's going to be.
They give you an appetizer,
but they don't reveal too much of it. I mean, blockbusters, unfortunately, they're going to cram as many trailers as much as possible.
Yeah. We all know that the Fast and the Furious movies are just going to be souped up crazy action, and like you don't even need to watch the trailer to know what you're going to find in the film because it's just going to be tone deaf bollocks.
I mean, all you're just going to get is Vin Diesel to say, I don't have friends, I have family.
Family. It's all about family. Together, family. That's scary as it is. Stop talking about family, Vin Diesel, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's like, and every time like you have you got a corona, it's like, oh fuck this, like that's it.
But the action movies just make me scared that we're never going to get a good movie again. That's more scary than a horror film.
I mean, the fact that you have to wait for like a Mission Impossible or just whatever to finally get so, and it's the same with horror. Like I kept telling people like, talk to me, and this is a good thing for me to do. Is now Talk to Me in the UK is now available on Netflix.
Yeah, I need to watch it. I'm scared to watch it though.
Watch it too.
So there's no fucking excuse for not going to see it because
I'm one of those people who will. It takes me a bit more than a normal trailer or hype around a film to go and see in the cinema because it's like these days, like I don't drive, so I have to plan to go with somebody to watch it. I don't want to just go and watch. I don't tend to go and watch a film on my own because it's just not really my vibe. Like I talk that and I say I watched Endgame Avengers on my own for 3 hours. Like I felt like a bit of a dweeb doing it at first, but I mean it was a good experience because I could enjoy it without having to be like worried about people around me. Like yeah, fuck yeah, they're doing a good shit. Yeah, I can be myself. But like the cinema experience, as Owen always like describes it is the pinnacle of like how a movie should be watched and how it should be enjoyed. Like Christopher Nolan's movies, like they're a cinema experience for the masses.
Well, they're more of like events than anything.
Exactly, yeah. Like Oppenheimer, like that still is one of my favorite films this year.
I mean, it became the third highest grossing film of this year, obviously behind Barbie and Super Mario Bros. Movie.
I still haven't watched Barbie yet. I still need to watch it.
I haven't as well.
Oh my god!
Also.
Come on, people.
I couldn't get my friend to watch it. I couldn't get my friend to go and watch it with me, and I'm like, I don't know if I really want to go and watch it on my own.
What, dressed in pink could be like, yeah, ready for Barbie. So
we need to just do it like a secret cinema Barbie night. Hopefully that's a thing at some point.
I mean, I got the film on 4K right now, so it's kind of funny. I look at my my shelf with all the Blu-rays and everything. Oh, there's Barbie right there. So,
Have you guys heard that there's actually someone who's trying to make a Barbenheimer movie now?
yes, I've just heard it a few hours ago.
And what is it? Is it like a $1 million budget or something?
Yeah, the budget is $1 million, and basically it's a Barbenheimer doll that wants to destroy the human world with a nuke, basically. I mean, okay, so,
okay. We've had worse of things. We've had worse of things. Cocaine Bet. Sorry, what was that?
Well, Cocaine Bear and Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Oh my god.
Movie. That's fucking horrific.
Talk about making my one of my favourite things as a child completely horror related, but we'll move that on.
I mean, I was watching it because obviously there was a hype. It's like, oh, they took Winnie the Pooh, but horrified it, and I'm just like, okay. I mean, anyone could do that, but whatever. So I saw the trailer. I'm like, it looks cheap. It looks horrible. I watched the film, and I'm like, it's exactly what I thought it was going to be. It's cheap and it's shit. It's dog shit. Fuck that movie.
What's
and now
the point?
they're making a
What's the point?
sequel. And they're making a sequel. And I'm just like, fuck every single person that was like, yeah, Winnie the Pooh.
I feel like I need to be one of those gamers right now who just throws their keyboard off the table or something. Fuck this shit! Honestly, I've heard good things though about the new Five Nights at Freddy's. I've heard that's been actually quite a good one. IGN always like to review the movies like in a shit way. Like we all know that they gave was it She-Hulk a 9? Oh, it's fucking ridiculous.
I mean, I enjoyed She-Hulk, but yeah, it's nowhere near 9 for sure. So
the funny thing is that like I think IGN's review of Five Nights at Freddy's was like he's got too much lore, and I'm like, it's a fucking video game that has a backstory. If you're not making a film about the game with the backstory, what's the fucking point? It's literally just a random like fuck off experience. Like at least the difference with like something like Cocaine Bear is that it's actually based on a true story.
Well, I mean, the true story was the bear consumed cocaine and only lasted for about within 30 seconds, and that was it. I mean,
like even the smallest amount of like lore that made it something, and IGN thinks that Five Nights at Freddy's is like not good because of that, and I'm like,
well, to be fair, I have heard like people have seen it. That the best that they have said that they said about it was like it's all right. That's it.
The thing is, though, like if you're gonna have a film that's like that, though, I think it being all right is just fine because Five Nights at Freddy's it's an infamous game. It's like we've all played it or watched it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't played it myself, but I know the you know what it's about. It's like you're basically looking at few screens and make sure that you look at the screen that where the puppets are moving and So,
and in all honesty, like I mean, I don't even know if the movie uses any like video game footage like PewDiePie or like Jacksepticeye like getting jump scared like fuck. You know, or Markiplier, or any of the big gamers that played the games when they were launching out years ago. But I mean, I was expecting, I even said it myself, like when I first played the game with a friend, I was just like, they're going to make a movie about this at some point. Took them about 10 something years, I think, to do it, but hey, we got there.
I mean, the thing is, like, it was produced by Blumhouse, which the thing about Blumhouse is we always joke about whenever they make a horror movie, they're going to make it dirt cheap because then when the box office comes in, even if it doesn't do immensely well, it's still made a profit. So
yeah, there ain't many movies now that don't make at least a tiny profit if they have a decent margin, I imagine.
I mean, this is why talk about Saw, which they made the 10th one this year.
Oh gosh,
that's why that's why the Saw movies, when you watch the Saw movies, I'm like, they look cheap. Well, it's because they were made cheap, but they made a profit. So that's why every Halloween. But when I was growing up, you always saw a trailer for a Saw movie, and like they're coming this Halloween, and it's like, okay, another one, all right, okay.
No surprise.
That's it. That's the thing, isn't it?
I think I only saw 4 series, so Saw 1, 2, 3,
4,
and
yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah, I only watched up to 3 because I heard originally like they were gonna only make a trilogy, even though I thought like Lionsgate is gonna go bullshit. We're gonna make 3. We're gonna keep making them as much as we can. So,
I mean, 20 years later.
they've remade the Hunger Games again recently, but I think it's not remade necessarily. I think it's supposed to be It's meant to be a continuation. Yeah,
it's a prequel because it's like.
Oh no, sorry, no. It's the origin story of Snow, isn't it?
Yeah, Snow and how that's.
You know what though? Like, obviously we're talking Halloween stuff here, but like, I have to be honest. The trailers and all the build up for the movie. We've got Peter Dinklage in there. We've got
Viola Davis.
Honestly, I think it looks really good.
I mean, the only thing that might turn people off is Rachel Zegler that has been making the rounds because her views on Snow White and it is cringe actually. Like the fact that she goes like, yeah, like the princess being a stalker, weird, and it's just like, okay.
I think any time now I hear the word cringe, because the amount of times that people use cringe now, they use it to an extent. Like, I just cringe. Just the word just cringes me out enough now.
No, but in this instance, I was watching it, I was going like that. So yeah, it was quite cringeworthy. Because you just kind of wanted to like Gal Gadot to come in and just just interrupt her. Like Tom Holland and all the other cast of the Avengers, because he has a habit of spoiling things. So Benedict So Benedict Cumberbatch would go, like that.
Hey, Tom, shut the fuck up, mate. Fucking hell. I mean, we saw that thing where he held up like a script thing or something, and it said not for public consumption.
And then he go, and then he was like, oh no, that's just but obviously that was all scripted and whatnot. So.
Yeah, you know what though? Like, if there's anything to take away from modern cinema, is that action movies are overdone too much now. Superhero movies done to the max. Horror movies can't seem to grasp the common main things that make horrors good.
Yeah, there are good horror movies out there. It's just not enough people are going to see those horror movies.
What's that one with the actor that did the Johnny English movie? He's in he goes to the family's like him and his girlfriend are like going to get married, and like the family's like this like really sadistical family, like they like profile him mad. I can't remember what it's called.
I have no idea.
No.
So in the Johnny English Reborn movie, the guy that was with Rowan Atkinson, I forget his name. I'm gonna have to look it up. Give me a second.
I mean, I've only seen the first Johnny English, and I thought it's all right. I can do with that.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with Johnny English as much. It's this it's the guy that's in it. Hang on,
I understand that, but I'm just like saying like I haven't seen.
That's
any
it.
Other ones,
Daniel Kaluuya.
Oh,
what's the movie he's in?
Oh, are you talking about Get Out?
Yeah, Get Out.
Oh,
that film is incredible.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it won the Oscar for best original screenplay. Which
honestly, like the poster, like just you see his eyes just like mad open wide, and you're like, "Fuck, this movie looks like it's going to be something else," and it is. Like just thinking about it.
I will say though, I remember watching the trailer and I wasn't quite sold on it, but I was like, you know what? It's Jordan Peele going from comedy to horror, so I was like, you know what? I'll give it a chance. And I was watching it, and I'm like, this is so good. Like,
there's not many movies that I can say, at least count on my hand, that like really like kind of just grip you. Like there's a build up like every film, and like you have to respect the build up to get. Basically, you have to eat your potatoes and your veg before you get to the real meat, like of the whole film. But it really does hit home. It does. It's fucking mad.
It's really smart too. Like
it's very smart.
It deals with like racism in America, and it's just like it basically. I remember watching it because I follow a podcast that's mostly African American, and they were reviewing the film, and basically they all said like every time I go to a party full of white people, I feel like I'm gonna get sacrificed. Like it's
a proper statistical movie.
It's that fear. Like, I mean, they're joking, but they always go like, okay, where's my cue to get like, and but it's so well written, and I'm so glad that Jordan Peele has made. Is continuing to make create great horror films. I mean, I know you did enjoy Nope from last year. Which I did. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But that's the thing. Like he gets to create and kind of experiment with all these things, and we need more of that. To be honest, like get filmmakers to be more experimental.
I think
I feel
I like that a lot.
Yeah, a lot of films have kind of very similar base story now as well, which obviously
It's very
gets
safe.
To, it gets to the point where you're just like bored of watching the same story over again. Like it's a different film, but it just that rings a bell, sounds familiar.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same with watching The Exorcist Believer. It felt very safe, and it was just like because Universal bought the rights to The Exorcist for, I think it was like 40 or 400 million dollars or something like that.
Wow.
So they're making it. So they're making a trilogy out of this. So the next one is The Exorcist Deceiver, and that's not going to come out till 2025. And
Wow.
then whatever the title for the third one is going to be, I hope that after that I was like, you know what, I'm still probably going to be in a fucking idiot and still go see it, but
just to prove a point,
just to say I've
that's
seen
the thing,
it.
Yeah. I think I would like it. Like, tell me if this is just a me thing, but I'd like a film where like it's completely misadvertised to you. Like they say it's a comedy film, and when you go and see it, it's the complete opposite. It goes from comedy to outright horror, and it's almost like going in a scare maze. You're not sure what you're expecting when you go in.
Yeah, telling you what, there have been instances not quite the same as that or so, but then there were kids like they were going to see, I don't know what it was, like Super Mario Bros. Or some kids movie, and they projected the trailer for like The Exorcist or some horror movie. It's been and it's happened more than one occasion. Where,
so like when the movie the movies that will be related to the certification.
Or I think there has happened one time where the kids were supposed to watch something and they were showing something completely like 18 certificate or something like that, and obviously they stopped and then within 5 minutes, like, right, this is not the right movie. Like, so
yeah.
I mean, how did you get past the first minute without realising it was the wrong film?
Well, not even that. You see the you see the BFC saying the title, the certificate, and why it's whatever it is. So how did you? Anyways, I don't know, but
oh god,
I would have loved to see that. Just be like, mum's going, say what?
Because to be fair, like one of my favorite things, like I knew obviously it was horror when we go. Well, it's psychological, but like was it Black Mirror Bandersnatch? Like that was a very interesting Netflix experience. Like for those who don't know what that is, it's basically it took the whole Black Mirror kind of experience of what made it such a shockingly gruesome in times and also very close to future realism. And I mean, is it Charlie? What's his name? Charlie something who made it? I forget the guy's name.
Charlie Brooker.
Charlie Brooker, yeah. And like, when I first heard they were doing this interactive experience on Netflix where you basically navigated through the journey as it was, basically it's like watching and playing at the same time. It's like you feel like you're not just sitting there with your popcorn, you're there as part of the experience. And the more you made your own decisions about what would happen next, the more it just fucked you up, like as you got through the experience. And because of that, the replayability and the watchability was just like, I played it through probably about 4 or 5 times. And like, I still to this day think that was one of the best things that you could do on Netflix. Like, don't get me wrong, Netflix tries everything. They throw the book at the wall. They try everything. But like, there's not many experiences like that can really, like, right now, I'm just thinking about it again. It's giving me that spine-chilling, cold feeling on my arms that you get when you go and watch a horror film for the first time that really knows how to push all the right buttons to scare the fuck out of you. Bandersnatch really did fuck with me a bit. I mean, I knew I was fine. I knew I wasn't just sitting in an experience that I couldn't just escape immediately. Like at the cinema, you could get up and leave, but who does that? You know, you just go, no more, thank you, goodbye. Just switch off, goodbye. You know, but like, yeah, Bandersnatch, like, I think is like that level of ability that you don't get unless you go to like a Fright Nights event, you know, at like Fort Park in the UK or like Universal Horror Nights.
Yeah, it's just, for me, like, I don't know about what you think, Yulita, because obviously we talked about it in the previous episode or whatever it is, but with horror, like, I tell people, it's like, it's a very emotional sensation where you're having the tension, and when it happens, like, you just let it out. It's very for me, it's kind of like similar to like sex in a very weird sense that you kind of build it up and everything, and then obviously, and you know, and obviously it's the same thing, getting excited for something or the anticipation of something.
Yeah, it's all of those body chemicals just ramping up for the moment.
Yeah,
I feel like it's also the unknown, because when you don't know what to expect and the tension is building up, it's giving you those like weird sensations inside of you, like, okay, what's going to happen next?
Because like when we're nervous or really worried for something, like you get the butterflies feeling, but like when you're scared for something
and your muscles tense up,
you feel like you've got like this like shimmering cold feeling literally just going around you, like a feeling of dread. Like when you think of that sensation, like right now I'm talking about it and I'm feeling that sensation because I know exactly how to picture it, like a snapshot. Like I can go back to whenever that moment happened and just feel it. And that's one of those things that makes horror really good when it's done really well.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes a lasting, impression on you, and it's like dealing with themes of like fear of the unknown, or fear of within. Back in the 70s, there was a lot. You had demon possession, you had poltergeist, you had the Amityville horror, where your husband is slowly getting possessed or getting turning crazy, or The Shining, or whatever.
Oh God, The Shining, man.
And and obviously you got like very outlandish things, like you got your zombies, you got your Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, and
Frankenstein.
Dealing with nightmares, and you got alien bursting out of your fucking chest and everything.
So God, yeah.
So you got like people when they were like having coughs or having chest like infections, or
coughing
whatever,
up blood and shit.
They thinking like, oh Jesus, like is it gonna happen? No. So
I've got a question to pose to both of you, because obviously we're conscious of time here. What movie? So this is like a split question. So what horror movie is your favourite, and what horror movie brought you to horror movies and kept you there?
Oh God. Okay.
So you go first, because I want to hear it. I'm really excited to know this.
I think for me, memorable horror movie would be probably Conjuring. The Conjuring, is that how you pronounce it? I think
The Conjuring,
yeah. And reason being is this was actually the first horror movie that I went to the cinema to.
Ooh.
So it's a little bit so obviously the experience was a little bit different rather than watching it on your sofa at home. And that, as we said previously, there was no escape, so I had to go through the whole movie. But my uncle, because he loves horror movies, was just next to me sleeping because it was too boring for him.
Wow.
So yeah, but hilarious. I was just there, like, shitting my pants, like, no, I don't think.
You're just getting that cold, shivering feeling, like dusk is moving over you.
He's there next to me sleeping, right? So.
I'd say have you seen quite a lot of horror films since that time?
Since that time, not really, just because I don't really tend to watch a lot now. Lack of time, but in the past I did used to, with the same uncle, I did used to watch a lot of horror movies. So surprisingly, when I was little, I was like possibly, I don't know, 7, 8, I could watch any horror movie with my uncle. Like, we used to spend loads of hours just watching horror movies one after another, and they didn't bother me. Now I'm shitting my pants whenever I'm watching.
It's almost like your granddad was like your amulet.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It helps you stop feeling the fear.
Yeah, well, maybe, or maybe it's just the fact that
we did do quite good a job, because you're now scared shitless.
Fucked it. No.
Just calling uncle. What did you do? Like, what?
I feel like we there's some things in life that you can just untrain without thinking about it.
Yeah.
I guess so.
For me personally, I think I'd probably watched a lot of horror films before this, but I don't know. I feel like I've got like a blank memory for some of these things. But one of my first movies that I watched I wouldn't call it. I call it quite tame for horror these days, because it really is. But the very first Resident Evil film really set a bit of nightmare fuel in me a little bit, because it was the first zombie film I'd watched. It was the first film that really kind of cemented all this could probably happen, even though I know it probably couldn't. And like I go back and watch it now, like it's like, you know, I can sit there just eating popcorn. I'm like, yeah, I know this bit's coming, but I fucking love it still. Like it's not nightmare fuel for me anymore. But like just the build up of the so I don't know if you have watched the Resident Evil films. You did, have you at all?
No, I
So set the premise a bit.
You're not missing much.
You're not missing much. But
good.
the source materials from all the video games, you know, Resident Evil 4, those games, the big ones that have been out on you've probably seen like stuff at least around on the internet about them. But like the premise of the movie is that like this underground scientific laboratory, part of a company called Umbrella, they basically are working on different like experiments. One of them is called the T-virus.
They were originally making like pharmaceutical like companies, like, you know, the city of Raccoon City were basically relying on them to make like medicine and all this and that. And then this one guy decided to make a bioweapon for the military.
Because effectively the founder of Umbrella was always very interested in experimentational experiments, so their profits, obviously their profits on the seams looked like it was, you know, pharmaceuticals, you know, drugs to save your life and stuff. But then their biggest profits, as they always say, like the intro to the films, is viral weaponry, bio warfare, like creating just despicable things. Like they're one of the biggest things from the films and the games is called the Lickers, and they're this creature that basically has the T-virus injected into living tissue, human tissue, and it contracts, and basically the skin kind of like just falls off completely over a few days.
Yeah, like the brain is exposed. Like
my god.
Yeah, they can't see. They can only hear by sound. And
they hear by sound and smell traces. And when they get access to blood, they contract and they mutate into a more predator alien like form. It's insane. Like I recommend the Resident Evil films because they are a bit comedic and comedy to the extent as they go further along. Like the first two films are probably, you could probably get away with being not as comical, but the more they went, they got more comical. Like Afterlife is one of my least favorite ones, but like genuinely they are some of the best kind of films that kind of link with the games in a way that I think other films just don't. Like, I mean, the new Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, don't watch that. Don't even touch that.
That was a big dog. Yeah, that was a big low shit.
That's the furthest away from nightmare fuel. That's more like, oh, for fuck's sake, why did I do that, fuel?
No, I mean, I was bored at most of the Resident Evil films. I was like pretty much bored.
I spent money renting that film, and me and my long-term friend Krishna watched Resident Evil for many years and played games for many years, and we both agreed how much shit we were putting ourselves through watching that film. And the more we went through the film, the more we were just like, should we turn this off? But we're like, no, we paid for it. We should see it through. And we got to the end. It was like, legitimately, I'm sure you said the same thing to me, Owen. Like, you got to the end, you're like, is that it? What the fuck?
No, I mean, I was very aware that there was multiple games and this and that, so I knew that they were going to make it open-ended for a sequel, whether it was going to be
Well, I mean, even that, though, like, I feel like we got to the film's end, and, like, we thought, okay, this doesn't feel like it should end now. What's going on? And I think the bit that made it the weirdest part is that, like, they were trying to go, like, really authentic with the games. They made it more closer to the same time of the films. So the games times, like, in the early 90s, late 90s. And I think that just didn't work, honestly. They weren't as faithful as people was expecting them to be. Like, they were hyping it up pretty hard. And I think I went back to watching the original Resident Evil films and playing the games just like I always do. And I just think, like, even the animated cartoons they do are so much better. And they're like then the production value on those are just so much different compared to this one fuck up of a film. Like, it's documented pretty well that Resident Evil has a very difficult history in making media that isn't games great. It's something that it's a point of contention for both me and Owen quite a lot in these episodes that we've spoken about. People know it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, for me, I got two films which are for different reasons that started me for like horror. Is like, so the one when I was a little kid that kind of got me into horror, that I was kind of fascinated but still scared, was Jaws. And
you know what? That came up at the fireworks in that because I went to watch fireworks last night and they had the 100 years since the Hollywood sign or something, and they had Jaws, and I didn't realize it. They did the whole Jaws theme and I didn't realize it was Jaws until about probably a quarter way through the song.
Oh no, it's so iconic. Like, I mean, John Williams, like he composed like so many iconic themes, and that is one of them. It's like dun, 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 like that.
Yeah,
and
everyone knows that bit, but like the build up to from the original song, like it's almost like infamous in a way.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about that film is just the fact that, I mean, behind the scenes, like, because the shark, it was a mechanical shark, it kept breaking down, so they were trying to figure out as they were making the film. So basically, Spielberg was like, well, shit, like, you know, I have to keep shooting. I can't just stall production. So I'm like, so how am I going to do it? Oh, okay. So he found really creative ways to, like, have the shark in the scene without showing the shark. Is that
just like, and that's why we always see the shark thing going like that. It's
well, you
just
see
like
the fin, or you know, if it's got attached like to a barrel or something, and like it's just, it was so creative, and when you watch it, it is done so really, really well. And it's stuff like that when they get really creative to really still be able to scare you on these sort of things.
When you're faced up against the wall with limited options, like same with the Jurassic Park original films. So those things, like being basically forced into a creative corner, effectively.
And the second film that kind of really got to get into horror, even though again still scared me shitless, was An American Werewolf in London. And
okay, I've heard of that one. Never watched it though.
Never watched it.
Yeah, it's a great werewolf film. I mean, when I tell people like if they want to get into like movie makeup or especially special effects makeup, like making monsters and whatnot, you know, the guy Rick Baker, he's the one who really he was basically, that film was the reason why the category for the Oscars best makeup was created. And it was, when you watch it, like the werewolf transformation scene, I mean, some people might see it as a bit slightly dated. I don't personally think so. I still think that it's still so really well done. And it's just, when you watch it, like it's like when you watch like CGI transformation scenes, like it just doesn't hold it up as the same way as like practical effects. And and that's the reason why it just held on like a lasting impact. Like, I think it's one of a great black comedy horror film that it's got something like, it's tongue in cheek, but it's still horrific when it comes to it. And it's great. Like I said, like if you're like, when I hear people like really want to go into, you know, special effects makeup, and I always say watch American Werewolf in London. It's such a great piece of work. So
I'll need to watch it. I'll definitely need to watch it.
Do you know what? I think when we meet up, guys, like, we never mind just going out for a good laugh and doing stuff in Birmingham. We need a horror night. Just watch horror films. We need Owen to curate a great list for us.
I know. Yeah. I got like a huge list on my wall here. Like, I can just bring it over. Like, one of the great films was called Raw, which is basically about a French horror film, which is basically a student that goes to university or college, like wants to be a veterinarian, and she's a vegan, but then in the rite of passage, because every other student has to do it, like, you know, like sororities or fraternities, like they have to do a rite of passage and all that shit. It's sort of like that. So they get woken up really early in the morning, they get spilled animal blood, and then you have to eat like an animal part. But then suddenly, and this is where I was watching the trailer going, oh, okay, she then starts to get into cannibalism. So,
oh my god!
So that's a turn.
And that's such a turn.
That's a turn to take.
And it's one of my absolute favorite horror films. I was watching it, and it's like, it's got to do with female hormones. Like, it's just changing. It's just thinking about the female body. So I think, Yolita, this will be something that will be like something that you may be interested in. And it's fairly short. It's about an hour and a half or an hour and 45 minutes.
You know what?
I can do that.
Every typical horror movie is around 90 minutes. Am I wrong?
I mean, another one, it's Saint Maud, which is about an hour and 25 minutes, which you can watch on Amazon Prime. So that's another win that you have no excuse to say. So
yeah, definitely.
But there's plenty of horror films that it's a shame that not a lot of people, you know, realize they're out there. So thanks to me, I can tell you to go watch it. So
I've got the perfect guide to horror here and now. But yeah, I'd
in
say
short, I think it's a very underappreciated. I mean, it's weird. It's like it's a mix of overappreciated to an underappreciated genre. Like it's not giving at least the credit that it deserves. So
exactly. Definitely something to explore. Doing something like that, guys. Definitely do like a horror night where we get like some good movies in, or do like a horror day. That'd be good fun. Always love doing stuff like that. You know, like everyone loves doing secret cinema nowadays. It's that same sort of like get the theming in, get the the food in, etc. It's a great thing. I like the idea of it, and I've not done something like that for years. So definitely something for the future books.
100%.
As always, everything has to come to an end. This has been a lovely episode. It's been a very spooky episode, talking about horror and bringing together the forces of two new podcasts on the scene. Well, not completely new with our one, What Topic, but yeah, Too Crazy. Always bringing drunk episode for the second one. If you haven't gone and seen that yet, or even listened to Too Crazy Podcast, make sure you go and check out Too Crazy Podcast on Instagram. Of course, check out What Topic Podcast on Instagram. You can always find links to that in either of the podcast's episode show notes. You can find me on Instagram at Mr. Josh Deakin. You can find Yulieta at
Yulita Dunda, Dunda.
Yeah, and Owen at
Owen.Burkett. Because when I started Instagram, it was Owen Burkett without a dot, so I always stumble like Owen.Burkett, so I always mix it up there.
Well, there you go. So thank you very much for joining us. Thanks so much for supporting as always. And thanks, guys, for coming together for a good episode. 5 days late, we know, but we did it.
We did it. Yay!
Yes. And keep being spooky.
See you later, guys.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.